We'll now bring in the members of our jury. Shauna, Carl, Tony, Melissa, Ethan, Trinica, Hannah, Kiri, and German. Maddie P., Sandra, Charlie, congratulations and welcome to the final Tribal Council. You have gone as far as you can in this game. You've done everything in your power to make it to this point. You have outplayed, and outlasted 17 other people to get to this point. Now, your fate is in the hands of the jury. So, what's going to happen is we're going to start. Each of you are going to give an opening statement. Then, one by one, our jury members will each get up. They'll either ask you a question, they may make a statement, one of the two. Once all of our jurors have asked their questions and or made their statements, you will get to make a closing statement. This is the one time in this game you want to see your name on this parchment, because they are going to be voting for a winner. All right. With that being said, let's get started. Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Charlie, start us off.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming out here. I do have one question for my co-finalists and the jury, and despite your opinions on me, I do ask you to answer this truthfully. Raise your hand if at any point in this game you were working with me. Despite me having number ones that fluctuated throughout the game, I was making personal connections and socializing with every single player. And with that comes information. During the pre-merge, I had my finger on the pulse of this game. At the voting confessional, for every vote in the pre-merge, I was able to accurately predict not just who was going home, but the vote counts, down to how many shot in the darks would be played. As the merge came and votes became harder to track, I worked with several different people in order to maintain my spot in this game, because I knew that this game was going to be very fluid. Sorry, I'm going crazy. This is a lot. I played this game not just having giant alliances. I was in two different 6-person alliances, both ironically calling themselves the Six, one with the OG Green and one with the Merge Tribe. And the only overlap to that, those alliances, was Hannah. And through everything, I always was able to keep my options open. People on all sides still came to me, even when they were not came to me, but were still open to talking to me. And I'm very proud of that. With making a lot of allies comes the fact that I have to, unfortunately, cut ties with people throughout this game. And I cut ties where it was necessary for me to cut ties, because at the merge, I realized that I had no number one in this game. No one who saw me as their number one. So I decided to make a new number one in Maddie, who just came back in the game, who was vulnerable and had a spot, and was open to working with anyone at that point. And that connection helped me get through all the way to the end. And we formed a final 3 at final 11-ish. An additional connection I made with the other tribe was Kiri. During the swap, I personally connected with Kiri in order to help to work with her through votes such as Shauna's first vote and every vote in pretty much the entire merge up until her elimination, where we both went after each other. I don't expect you guys. I don't automatically deserve your vote, but I do feel like I deserve to be listened to and questioned fairly. I will answer your questions as best as I can. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Sandra.
Okay. My mouth's gonna get dry. I can already feel it. Um, so coming into this game as an older woman, who the older generation tends to get targeted first because they're seen as weaker. I'm obviously not a challenge beast. I won no immunities. So, which I know I am not a challenge beast, so I have to focus on my social game and my strategy, which I did. I came into the game and made a strong 3-person alliance with Jeff and Jordan, and we formed a 5 with James and Blake, and then we formed a 5 with Shauna and Maddie, and we felt like we were in a really good spot to get us, further in the game. And that's the thing. Like I always say, I'm a loyal player, and I know I did have to eventually turn on some, but that's also part of the game. It's like being loyal, and I feel like the game is in 2 parts. It's pre-merge and post-merge, and your first goal is get to merge. So we had 2 5-person alliances to skate us through, and then the swap. The 13 tribal councils, and the only one that I was not on the right side of the vote was Shauna. Blindsided there, which was a great move by Kiri. And we formed that final 6. I mean, I'm sorry, hold on. The Alliance of 6. So we formed that because we knew that there was strong players coming in from the Green Tribe. Melissa, Ethan, Tony, Kyle. You're strong players. So we formed a 6. I kind of thought we were called the leftovers, but but okay. Because we knew that was the only way we would survive. I mean, I'm not winning immunity challenges, so I just had to kind of broaden my alliances. So I kept with Maddie because he came back in the game. And then I also formed new alliances with Kiri and German and Hannah. And eventually, we all sat down, and yes, I had to write their name down, and it was the hardest thing ever. But we also said at Final 6, we understood that. Like, everybody wanted big moves. And, I felt Kiri was like a big threat. Like, I really thought she was going to win. So, I had to turn on her. So it's not like I had to stay loyal through the whole game, even though that's how I play. Eventually, you have to turn on someone because there's only a final 3, and you have a 6-person alliance. I mean, it's going to be a battle. So that's my spiel.
Thank you, Sandra. Maddie P.
Members of the jury, coming into this game, I fully understood my potential. I know that I'm a great social and strategic player, but I recognise that I do have physical limitations, which is why I was not able to go on a tear and win individual immunities or be that much of a presence in the physical challenges. When we started on pink, we lost 4 challenges in a row. But before that first challenge, I had already lent into my strengths and sought out social relationships with people that I felt I could trust, but was also willing to take a leap of faith and go with that relationship as far as I could in the game. Now, looking back at my game, I hope you can all look at it through a lens of every move and decision I made was done with purpose and intent and was deliberate, and I'm happy to own any of my moves and be questioned by you accordingly. I feel like in the opening couple of days, I set myself up with strong enough relationships. My ride or die was Shauna. No, I don't think anybody in the game actually knew that. I additionally then formed additional relationships with Sandra, with Jeff, with others in the original Pink Tribe. As we got whittled down, I was swapped into the Green Tribe. That was tough. Despite having a 4-3 majority with Pink and Green, that was turned on its head with a brilliant move by Carl. He blindsided us and sent Jeff home. I was then in a 2-4 minority. What happened then was Jordan had the mutiny advantage. I encouraged her to use it. because I wanted to test myself in that tribe to see how well I could scramble in a 1-4 situation. Jordan mutinied at the challenge, and it was upon my encouragement, because you may recall she read it out. She said she wasn't going to play it. I said, no, please play it. I'll figure it out. Don't risk your game for me. She mutinied back to the original pink. I was on my own. It left me with Carl, Melissa, Ethan, Trinica, and Tony. I worked incredibly hard during those 3 challenges, despite my limitations, to prove myself to you, because I knew I was on the bottom of the Okina 5. That got us through 3 challenges as a team, and it wasn't until we finally lost where I was voted out of the game by all of you except for Ethan. Now, if you reflect on my game, it's effectively 2 halves. It's before I was voted out in the pre-merge, the battle back, and then the post-merge. Every decision I made along the way, in the back of my mind, I knew I had to do what it takes to be sitting here right now. When I went to battle back, I didn't share this with my tribe mates. I didn't just complete the 1 challenge. It was not just 15 minutes. I sat there for over an hour with my leg on that beam to keep that beanbag balanced. Physical strength is not my forte. My mind was so dialed in because I wanted to be here. I want this win so badly. And I put my heart and soul into that, and I beat 2 of the strongest guys in the game in Jeff and Blake. Following that, we went to a social game tribal council to vote for the players we want to bring back into the game. I voted for Shauna because she was my ally. That was a strategic decision. And I voted for Blake because I knew if I wasn't going to get back in, he had the best chance of progressing through the game. We then went to a final challenge where we had to make fire. I successfully beat Blake in making fire, which was the first time in my life I've successfully achieved that. Now, going into the post-merge, the first vote, we were blindsided. And I knew that we did have a 7, but I lost Shauna, who was my ride or die. I panicked. I had a very, very deep and meaningful conversation with Melissa over at the Merge Tribe. I was crying because I thought I didn't do anything with my game. I thought, what have I done? And she said, believe in yourself, Matt. Believe in yourself. That was a turning point in my game. And I felt like from that moment, I thought, what was my purpose of redemption? And what was my purpose to battle back into the game? It was to get redemption. So every single person that voted me out from the Okina 4 is now sitting at the jury. In addition, the only other vote I received in the game was from German. He's also sitting on the jury. That was my purpose in the post-merge, was to ensure that those players were voted out. That's effectively everything, and I'm happy to take as many questions as you would like. Thank you.
Thank you, Matty P. Thank you, finalists for the opening statements. Jury, are you guys ready to get to these questions? All right, where would you like them to stand? All right, let's get started with the question portion of this final tribal council. Shauna, why don't you get us started?
I like the boots.
First of all, congratulations to you 3. How exciting to be in your shoes. I think we all wish we could be there. I want you to know that I don't think any single person has their mind 100% made up. So you can do it. That being said, you haven't had access to any news in the last 8 days, and there is some really important breaking news to cover. There has been an epidemic spreading through the jury house. It is a terrible case of bitterness. Okay?
Yeah, we kind of saw it, kind of.
It has been spreading like crazy. I have been doing my best to not catch it, trying to keep symptoms at bay, but I think there's something that you all can do to help cure everyone of this disease. And that is, I would like each of you to own something that you did in the game to make somebody catch the bitterness and how it advanced your game, how it was good for your game. Why don't you go ahead and start,
Okay.
Charlie?
Okay, so I will completely start by. I mean, I could be pretty much nine, like 8 out of 9, like 7 people, but not. Oh, sorry, I'm going crazy. Let's start with the fact that I had a 6-person alliance at the beginning of the game that I was at first 100% solid with. I then flipped to a different 6. I voted out. I voted for Melissa, Ethan, Trinica. I did not vote Tony during the tribal that he got eliminated, but I did vote Tony at the final 12. I voted out Hannah. So that's 5 of you guys right there, and I'm the last one standing. I understand that original connection that we believed is solid was not so solid, and that could result in feelings of bitterness and understandably. But I want you guys to know that the reason why I voted for all of you guys, is because you guys are very strong players. You guys are very sociable players. There is a reason that the 6 of us formed in the first place, because we all liked each other, we all gelled, we all meshed, we were all social threats. And that's especially Hannah. At the final 6, I knew how well spoken you were. You speak eloquently at every tribal you attend. And that's why I realized, well, like at the final 8, that I needed you, I needed to vote you out. But that is because you are all of you are so strong. And aside from that, I voted for Kiri and German, despite the fact that I was working with them
I'm
as
ready
well.
to move on to Sandra.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
okay, I understand.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I want to know a move that you did that
Yep.
you can own that caused some bitterness in
Okay.
the jury and why it was good for your games.
Okay. So I would say Carrie is mine. And I'm so sorry. I truthfully wanted to go to the end with her, and when we made that deal, like, I really meant it. But then, like, you were killing it, girl, and like those challenges, and I started thinking, oh my God, she's killing it, and the jury I mean, she's just so likable and has a great social game, and I knew there was no way, if I did stick to that 2 with her, I wasn't going to beat her. There's no way. So she was the one person that I knew. Once Final 5 came, I knew that they were throwing out Charlie's name, and it was definitely my move. I threw out your name. I'm sorry, but I just felt like that's the only way I was going to win if I didn't go up against her.
Thank you. Maddie?
Thanks for the question, Shauna.
You're
I think
welcome.
the move that I made that defined not just my game but the outcome of surviving Reelfoot the Decennium was the second merge vote. I was at crossroads where I had a decision to make between sticking with the 6 alliance that I was with up until the final 6, or go back and work with the Okina 5 and the remaining members of that alliance. Given we were blindsided in the first vote, I needed to make a choice that was best for my game. I thoroughly enjoyed the relationships I made over on the Green Tribe, but I had to put that aside and carve a path for my own game. I understand that may have caused some bitterness, but I know you're all incredibly big players. And I know you will respect gameplay, and I hope you are able to respect that move as a move which set up the trajectory for the rest of the game for myself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna.
That was awesome.
Carl, you're up.
Oh yeah.
What's up, you 3? Congratulations. You guys did it. You made it to the end more than the rest of us could say. I just have one question for the 3 of you to answer. Basically, I mean, if you know me, I played my game with my pants on fire, basically, and I'd kind of like to know how the 3 of you played your game with your pants on fire. Like, what did you do? You You understand? the
Yeah,
question?
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
That's my question.
Yep.
Plain and simple. I'm a simple guy.
Well, I feel like, sorry, do you want to go first?
No, you
I
can
don't know.
It's-
So I feel like I played always being aware. I had to be aware of who was aligning with who was talking to who. I think I'm probably just as loud as you, Carl. So, but just like knowing when to pivot, knowing when to break off from alliances, like Blake and James, I knew kind of that wasn't going to be a safe alliance. So just I played more of an aware game and strategy and knowing when to pivot an alliance if needed and when to make new alliances if needed and when to broaden the alliances. So that was really like my goal because I knew I couldn't depend on challenges. So I mean I was fully aware and always aware of like what was going on around me, and that's pretty much how my pants are on fire.
I'm happy to go, Carl. Thanks for the question. I think for me, the biggest moment where I felt like my pants were on fire were during that first day. That was the most important day to set up social relationships. I had set up a relationship with you over the first 2 days. I set up relationships with Shauna, with Jeff, with Sandra, and with Jordan as well. I think running around making sure that all of those relationships were as, as strong as they were was very important in setting up the foundation of my game to move forward. What that created were opportunities for me going further in the game. I needed to adapt when other players were adapting. Yes, I worked in alliances. Yes, I wasn't driving the big moves. And the reason for that was I needed to make decisions that benefited my game at every single step of the way. And I'm very happy to own that. And I hope that you see the merit in my style of play, although it is very different to yours.
So I feel like the moment where my pants were most on fire was during the swapped portion of this game. At the start, I was in a tribe with 4 original green and 4 original pink. But that quickly changed as Tony felt like he was on the bottom of that tribe, got the advantage from Melissa, who got it from Hannah, and mutinied over, and Jordan took his place. From there, I was in a 5-3 situation where I was in the minority. However, I knew that I could focus on my socializing abilities, and I made a connection with Kiri in this game, and we worked together. We discussed our frustrations with our own games and our allies, and we made an informed decision with German to not. Well, first off, thank God for Blake because that was that helped me get through 1. But then we were able to get Shauna and then Jordan out of the game, and that's what allowed me to reach merge and form the 6-person alliance that got me down to the final 6.
Thank you guys, great answers, and good luck to all 3.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. Tony, you're up.
We're ready.
He's ready. We're ready for this.
So, my mom always said, if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It's a good thing I never listened to my mom. Just kidding, I just wanted to say that. Congratulations
We're ready.
to all 3 of you. Charlie, first of all, I want to apologize for being a sore loser, not shaking your hand, you just stuck your hand out. Appreciate that. Sandra, I know I said some things to you as well. But I'll start with you, Sandra. So I'll say, I did make that comment, and I did think that when I made that comment, and I want to know why, as you're sending out someone who's in that minority, like why you didn't use that to maybe make a move with someone in the minority to gain some respect to people that you're sending to the jury.
This is so in my theory, and this is how I play the game. Okay, you guys are in the minority. I'm not going to flip on my alliance to go to another alliance and now piss off 6 people. Like that to me, especially after merge, when I know all those people are going to the jury, and I feel like most people would do that, especially after merge. That's why I said timing's everything. I was pretty open with all of the Green Tribe, saying I think you all knew I was loyal and sticking to my alliance. So I kind of feel like my vote for you wasn't a surprise because we never had an alliance together. We were never working together. And I just didn't think it was time for a move because I wasn't ready to piss off everybody else.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Charlie, I want you to go in a little bit more in depth about the German Melanie vote. And I want you to explain your moves more and how you maybe strategically came with that decision. Yeah, I want to know your thought process on that move specifically, and then in the future, maybe you can explain your vote outs and your thought process a little bit more.
First off, I really do appreciate you apologize. Like, it literally is making me tear up as I think about it. Thank you so much. Second off, the rumors are true. I did vote Melanie on purpose. It was kind of obvious I'm a really bad liar. So we had a 6-person alliance, as we all know. We managed to get out Joe, and Danny chose to tap out of the game due to health issues. But we were at a crossroads with whether or not with the last 2 people, with Melanie and German. What I was getting from you and Ethan is that you really wanted to keep Melanie in this game. What I was getting from Trinica and Hannah is that you guys wanted to keep, and also, I don't remember specifically where Melissa stood.
I wanted to keep Melanie in the game.
Yeah, okay. So, I was at a very specific, like, crossroads myself because I was conflicted because I wanted to go, at this point, I considered you as my number 1. But, I also really liked German, and German and I were growing a connection that was much stronger than Melanie and I's. And Melanie was going around to everyone, not just, and German wasn't going to, German was going a lot to me, and I was going a lot to German, like, to talk, like, strategy. And then I realized that because of just the personal talks you had with Melanie, that even though I was your number 1, you were not, even though you were my number 1, I was not your number 1. I don't believe I was Ethan's number 1, and I definitely was not Melissa's number 1 at that moment in time. So I wanted to cut ties, or not cut ties, but vote out Melanie against the wishes of a lot of the 6 Alliance in order to get you closer to me and to get Ethan closer to me. And at the end of the day, it also helped with Trinica because she came to me being like, it's okay if you did it on purpose because I wanted Melanie gone as well. So at the end of the day, and also German and I then proceeded to work together and create moves throughout the season that got us all the way to Final Four. So I absolutely do not regret that decision. I think it was one of the best moves that I not single-handed, but it was, had I voted German, German would have left. But because I voted Melanie, we're here.
Charlie, can I just,
Yeah.
I'd like a little bit more clarity on that because that sounds like a really good plan, right?
Mhm.
However, that night when we were trying to decide between German and Melanie,
Yeah.
which I could have went honestly either way,
Mhm.
you were a priority to me and you came to me in the middle of the night freaking out that German wanted you out. So how is that like clear?
Okay. So I was freaking out that German wanted me out because Melanie came to me saying German wanted me out. And then Melanie went to other people and saying that I wanted certain players, like I wanted German out. This created distrust between German and I. And then we reconvened. We realized, okay, Melanie's just trying to stir the pot. And then she came to me offering a fire token if she stayed in the game. And I just was like, you know what? She's doing everything she can to get with anyone. German, if he stayed in the game, would be loyal to Hannah and me. So yes, I freak out. I was freaking out about that. I freak out about literally every little thing ever, as you guys all know. So
I think that we just want clarity on that because we do notice that. So I
Mhm.
think that's what we're looking for in your answers. That's
Okay.
all.
thank you.
Thank you. Great answer. I think your reads are pretty spot on, so just keep going. Maddie, I'll go to you. So Ethan and you obviously had a relationship coming into this game. Ethan was pretty not going to vote you ever. Eventually, you did vote him. I want to know how hard that was for you, and did you make it for strategic reasons?
That's a great question. I obviously had a pre-existing relationship with Ethan. We played a one-day game in Sydney together 2 years ago. Very, very different environment to what we were playing here this week. And the scale of what we played was very, very small by comparison. To answer your question about voting for Ethan, I never actually wrote Ethan's name down. That was a split vote, and I wrote Trinika's name down from memory. And I'm happy to own that that wasn't the correct vote, but we had the strategic intent of Ethan going home because that ensured that we could continue to move along as a 6 alliance.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Good luck to y'all, and yeah, that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Melissa, you're up.
Hi guys. Congratulations. You should be proud of yourselves, really, all of you. So, personal growth and reflection is very important to me. So, is there something in this game, now that it's over and we're reflecting on our game and we're gathering our final thoughts, what is a mistake or something you regret you did in the game, and how would you do it differently?
I think I could answer this one very quickly. I think the way I was talking in the final 10 rounds came from a place of overconfidence and unnecessary pride. And Trinica, we had a lot of talks about this after. It is never my intent to hurt anybody in this game, and it's never my intent to tell somebody off, and I completely regret where that conversation went, and I am very sorry. I know going in my real life, I kind of try and follow this quote that says, be the best that you can be until you know better and then do better. So now that I know better, I'm going to do better, just in real life.
Thanks, Melissa. Probably one of the earlier mistakes I made in my game was not pushing harder on our first vote on Pink Tribe for James to go home. I was working with Debbie at the time, and she ended up being the vote that ended up going home. She was an ally of mine amongst all of the other players that I was working with and I was connected with socially. Upon reflection, I would have preferred to have kept her for more rounds, but I acquiesced in that moment to ensure that the other members of my alliance were happy with the first vote. We did get James out in the second vote, but maybe I could have perhaps, if I would have developed my game, assumed more control. But I think the hesitation I had in that was I was playing in a new game, in a new country, with new players that were super powered compared to the players I played against back home. And I think my hesitation was just, I don't want to come out too strong, otherwise I could be targeted next. And a fact around that one that I'm not sure if people know, when Debbie said she was blindsided when I went to Battleback, that was because I kept her so comfortable that she did not think she was going home. That was a move that I can own, that I directly impacted Debbie, because I know that she was chatting to a lot of people around the tribe, but I gave her the time that she needed on a personal level and also a game level to ensure that she felt comfortable so that our plan as an alliance could move forward for that vote.
Okay. So I feel like a big thing that I have a habit of doing this as well. Like when I'm in an alliance, I tend not to branch off and talk to people on other alliances. And part of these games is getting to know everyone, and I really enjoy like getting to meet new people from all across the country, different countries. And I wish I would play more broader, and get to really like talk to people and maybe have more of an open mind than just staying direct, Like, that's something I would change.
Okay. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. Ethan, you're up.
Well, congratulations to the three of you. You all did something that none of us on the jury could do. First of all, I'd like to just quickly, address the people watching at home. We've all taken a step back and thought about how we're going to talk to each other and treat each other as people. Within the game, it's very intense and emotions are extremely raw. We're running off no sleep and no food, and this game means a lot to every single person here. So I just want to say to the people watching, as we all treat each other with respect, I hope that everyone else can do the same and understand that we're all people, and hopefully everyone will leave a comment with something that is nice and kind rather than something that shares their opinion in a negative way, because everyone here is a wonderful person and you all deserve to be treated really well. My question to all three of you is, I want to know what aspect of the game you did better than the two people sitting next to you, and I'll start with Matt.
So Ethan, I think the one thing that I had to navigate through my game was managing multiple social relationships the entire way through, including being swapped into a minority, which I touched on earlier, then leaving the game, having to battle back. That was a key differentiator in my game that the two people sitting next to me did not have to do. I was looking at that beanbag on the end of that beam and I thought my entire game rests on this challenge. I was so dialed in. I've never been that dialed in my entire life. And then going on to make fire, which I've never been able to successfully do, and beat one of the better fire makers in our tribe. That to me was where I think my game is more clearly differentiated from Sandra and Charlie.
Sandra?
I feel that not all votes, but a lot of the votes, I was part of the decision making. A lot of times, and this is no disrespect, a lot of times, Maddie would come to me and was like, what are we doing? What's the vote? And, I would just tell him, we got to do this one. He wanted to do James. I wanted to do Deb. And a lot of it was a group decision too, because I will say that, like, we kind of all agreed on a lot of players being voted out, Deb, and we knew James was going next and stuff like that. But especially like after merge, it was like, okay, we do Melissa or Tony first. Let's do Tony first, or no offense, Tony. Who once we reach 6, like, I'm sorry, Hannah, but like I, said we should get rid of Hannah. Like a lot of the decision making, I feel like was my doing.
Yeah, cool.
I believe that my edge over my other two co-finalists is my social game. When I had you all raise your hands, every single person on those benches and in these logs raised their hand. I had alliances, even though they were some brief, some very long lasting. We're like with every single player in this game. Rarely did I ever look for idols because I knew I never needed one. I survived the most tribal councils in this game. I more than Maddie, more than Sandra, and of that, I have had the least amount of votes cast against me in this game, with only 3, tied with Kiri. No, I didn't forget, don't worry. So, yeah, because I had a lot of allies, and because I was able to keep my options open, people, despite my name being floated around for 5 rounds straight, people were still hesitant to vote for me over other people. There was always another shield in the way.
Yeah, fantastic. Great answers. You all equally deserve to win. My vote is very much still open. I'm going to be voting for the person who I think fights the hardest for their win. Good luck.
Thank you, Ethan. Trinica, you're up.
Okay, Charlie, I want to start quickly. I'll come back to you with something,
Yes.
but I do want to say I think one of the reasons you had so few votes against you is because a lot of people here felt they could beat you at the end, not because they didn't want you to go. So I'm just saying that. Also, congratulations, everyone. Sorry. Hi. Sandra, I think if I had to put a slogan on a T-shirt to describe your game, it would be "I'm a loyal player." You know, you had a good social game, but with the Minority Alliance, I felt that you were pretty upset at the way we behaved, which I think was understandable in our situation. I don't feel that you really got to know us until the last day when you started asking questions because you thought there might be a challenge about our lives.
No,
So
you're right.
it felt a little bit insincere, perhaps. So, you know, given that you never seemed open to working with me, I would like to know why you think I would want to vote for you.
And that kind of goes back to, I think it was Melissa's question. That was one of my regrets, is waiting until, you know, that day, and I should have broadened, opened the door and spoke more instead of just sticking to my alliance, and that's definitely something I would change in my game.
So now why should I vote for you?
Because I think you really love this game, and you want to vote for the person that played the best game, made the best moves. I think a lot of the Green Tribe kept saying, "Don't play a boring game. Make blind sides, make moves." And I feel like yeah, maybe I waited for the final six, but I wanted to get to the final six. I mean, that's just how you extend your game. And then I feel like when you make big moves, timing's everything. You know, you can't do it too early, so otherwise you're gonna have people pissed off or whatever. So I think I should have your vote because I truly believe I played the best game. I was involved in all the votes except for Shauna. And I think as a Survivor fan, I truly feel like that's how you would vote anyway. I just really feel like you respect the game.
Thank you. Maddie, I feel that you didn't quite understand the dynamic of the Okina 5. You said that you were at the bottom of that alliance. However, you had a great relationship with Ethan, and you knew that Ethan was my guy, my sweet prince, my angel boy. So, you know, I wasn't going to actively go against you when I had such a good relationship with Ethan. So I want to know, why do you think I voted for you?
To be really honest, I'm not sure. I look back on that vote and it made me question a lot of things, which is the reason why I was hesitant to explore options of working with yourself and the rest of the Okina 5 post-merge. In this game, after being voted out, I felt like I had one opportunity to get things right in the second half of my game post-merge, and my philosophy on that was once bitten, twice shy. I applied the same principle with Carl because we were working together at the beginning of the game. I then decided to not work with you following that. There was another example of another player.
I don't need it, I think.
Okay.
I do want to say, I did explain to you why I voted for you right after. You didn't tell me about your fake advantage, and if we were in a close alliance and you had told me, I would not have voted for you. I would have gone with the plan.
Okay. May I have an opportunity to explain that?
No, because I have more things that I need to do.
Oh.
But Charlie, okay. I wrote it down because, you know, ADHD. I appreciate the apology. I feel like we really hashed things out. And
Yes.
I've said this before. I think you going to other members of the tribe after what I thought was a very productive and good conversation and painting me as a villain felt unnecessary and cruel. It didn't feel strategic to me. So, you know, I do think your strategic moves felt emotionally manipulative. I want to know, were your emotions real, or can you actually explain the strategy behind them?
Okay, first I would like to address the fact that people all wanted to take me to the end. I believe that, yes, in some cases that
I don't think I need to hear the answer to that. I would like you to answer my question, if that's okay.
So yeah, my emotions were absolutely real, and this is a game of heightened emotions. You guys all saw me going to production. I was like really, really sad and frustrated that I hurt you, and I did not want to do that. But also, when I'm in, like, I don't want to say defense mode, but like when I am emotionally stressed, I look for comfort in anyone I can. and I did not attempt to paint you as a villain, and I more so tried to just talk to people. I just needed someone to tell me that it's okay, you're still a good person, and in that I still, like, again, everything's a blur. I don't remember, and I know that can be frustrating. I don't remember how I specifically went to Sandra and Maddie because those were the two people that were, and German, because those were the people that were first to hug me, and first, like, when I was really in a state of just emotional shock. I never, any point in this game where I hurt you, it was never my intention to hurt you.
Okay, thank you. I'm hearing your emotions were real and valid and not strategic. So that is, going to be an interesting factor, I think, for all of us to consider. I know you all had more things you wanted to say. Save it for the final speech because I have one more thing I want to do, and I'm technically only allowed one question each. So, can you all please close your eyes? Keep them closed. I'm going to name each member of the jury, and I want you to raise your hand if you think you will have their vote. Shauna. Tony. Hannah. Kiri.
Being delusional.
German. Carl. Melissa.
Can we do maybes?
No, I want you to be quiet.
Like, I have no idea.
Please just be quiet and raise your hand. Ethan. Trinica. Alright, you can open your eyes. Thank you.
I have no idea how you
Thank you,
guys are
Trinica. Hannah, you're up.
I don't know how to follow that.
No idea.
Firstly, congratulations. You all three are doing amazing. With your pitches, I'm honestly blown out of the water. It's much better than I expected, especially on so little food and sleep and all that. Secondly, I would just like to remind everybody that those 6-person alliances had names. The first was the Sexy Six, and the second was the Breakfast Club. Or at one point, that was one that was pitched. And thirdly,
I know, I feel like we had a lot of different names.
I would just like to say that I believe the reason that you didn't need to look for idols at all, Charlie, was because you had a guardian angel named German. And I truly believe that is why you are still here, because of this man right over here that you decided not to take at the end. So similar to Trent, we're going to play a little game where I am going to name a jury member, and I want you to just say the name of the person. It doesn't have to be one of you three, just any of us, that was responsible for taking that person out. And you can't say multiple names, and I don't want to hear the why. Just who was the responsible person. All right, we'll just go left to right. So first, Carl.
Who's going first? Are we saying it at the same
Yeah,
time?
just shout it out at the same time. So, who is responsible for Carl's demise?
Kiri.
All right, Melissa.
German.
Me.
Sandra.
All right, Ethan.
Hannah?
I don't, honestly, I don't remember Ethan's vote. I really don't. I mean, I remember your vote, but I don't.
Sandra.
I think it was
Sandra.
me. I think it was me. I do.
Alright.
I think it was me.
Trinica.
We
Just
can-
a name with no explanation.
German.
German.
I think you were the only one left. I was like,
All right, Tony.
Myself.
Myself.
Sandra not participating in the
no, I'm
challenge.
thinking. I know. Sandra's very old and her memory is very bad. All right, let me think back. Tony. You?
Can
I know, it could be
Can I ask you to pick between those two of who you think had more?
them two, these
Yeah,
two.
in my vote out.
Maddie.
I was the swing vote. I decided that.
All right, Shauna.
Not me.
Tony.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be one of you.
Oh wait,
three.
the first Shauna vote or the second Shauna?
I guess the second Shauna vote.
Sorry, I just need to clarify.
Tony.
Tony.
Kiri.
Oh,
I'd like to say me.
Carrie?
Sandra.
Okay. German.
Me.
Actually, yeah, I think that. I don't know. It could have been Maddie.
I think it was myself.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, and me.
Kiri.
Oh wait.
Sandra.
I'll own it.
You also said Sandra.
Kiri.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Those
I
were
feel
her-
like we were
that's where I
working
heard the name
together,
first.
so it's like it's.
All right. Thank you so much. Great job, all three of you.
Thanks, Hannah.
and
Thank
it
you,
was
Hannah.
adorable.
Kiri, you're up.
Oh God.
So I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but congratulations. We're all very jealous.
No,
of
we're
you
not
guys.
tired of hearing that.
I'd also like to thank you for continuing, or helping me continue my own tradition of getting voted out fifth consistently as a social threat. So I'm glad to keep that record going. My question is for all of you. We've asked a lot of questions about the jury, but now I want to hear about what you guys kind of think about each other. So, say you win. What do you think would be the fatal flaw in the other two players that made them that cost them their own game?
Okay. I think Sandra's, if I were to win, I believe Sandra's fatal flaw would have been not wavering at all, remaining completely loyal and deciding to, not even considering flipping and making a move until it was final 6. And I believe Maddie's fatal flaw would have been you were swapped into a majority first and not a minority in the pink tribe, and that quickly disintegrated because of factors that I'm not completely sure of, but I mean, you had a majority and that dwindled and that resulted in your vote out.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you can go.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, but probably the fatal flaw would apply to both Sandra and Charlie, in that trusting to take me to the end when they had a choice between German and myself, not knowing my complete game from start to finish, because I don't think the players and maybe the jury had a complete understanding of what I was doing every step of the way.
I think Maddie's flaw would be not having more control over the votes. I do feel like he more kind of followed the votes, and I feel like to play a strong game, you kind of have to, I don't want to say, that's not the word I meant, but be more in control of who gets voted out next, because that's how you kind of protect your own game. And Charlie, I would say more of, I feel like you never really knew where he stood. I know he said I'm too loyal, but I don't believe that. I don't believe there's such a thing as too loyal. But I also feel that a bad play is also some people not even knowing where is his loyalty. That's also a bad thing, because I know there was a lot of votes for where's Charlie gonna vote? Where's Charlie gonna vote? We honestly had no idea. So I think that's not knowing where he stood was kind of.
May I make a comment on that, just in relation to me not having enough control? I just wanted to clarify so the jury were clear. I never committed to a vote that did not align with the best interests of my game. I may not have instigated that vote, but I only committed to that vote as long as it was aligned with my play, so that I could be sitting here at the end and have an opportunity to speak to the jury.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kiri. German, close us out.
All right, congratulations once again to you guys, final three. I'll start with Sandra. I just want to say it was a pleasure working with you in this game, playing with you again. You came for me in this game, I came for you, but I do commend your adaptability in this game. And even though we were against each other, we came together and we worked together as far as we could. Charlie, I do want to say, despite everything, I'm really proud of you. I hope that you keep your head held up high. You're a brilliant boy, and I think you're going to have a bright future ahead of you. And, you know, it's never a failure, always a lesson. And to you, Maddie, I want to say I never met you until the merge, but you had a way, a charm, a feel to get me to work with you. I clocked your game, I saw it, but I really thought in that 6 that I had the social capital. I said, I have Charlie, I have Hannah, Sandra's not going to go against me, and Kiri's going to be with me. I thought that once I got to that 6, there was no way you would be able to defeat me, and you were able to take my closest ally and turn them against me, so I do commend you on that. So good luck to all of you.
Thank you, German.
Thank you, German. Jury, thank you for your questions and statements. We've had a very lively tribal council. We're now going to get to the closing statements. So, and as a note for this, I will have the timer. We are going to allot 3 minutes and no more for each closing statement, just as a warning to the finalists. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I just want to get it over with. Sorry, nerve-wracking. So those were really tough questions. Thank you. I was really nervous. I'm not going to lie. I think all of us, jury and final three, respect this game, and we love playing this game. And sometimes you got to make big moves. Sometimes you got to double cross. Sometimes, you know, you got to break alliances, make alliances, and the goal is to get to the end. And I always, like someone said, my T-shirt or whatever, I'm a loyal player, and people think that you can't win Survivor being loyal, or get to the end and being loyal. And I try my best. I mean, I had to turn on German, but I was also with Maddie from the beginning. Like, so, you know, I was able to adapt and like have various alliances, knowing that eventually I'm going to have to turn on one. But I also think that's part of the game. And I think as Survivor fans, you all know that. It's inevitable. I also played a shot in the dark correctly, which was luck, I know, which is also part of the game. It's not all strategic and social and challenge. It's also a lot of luck, you know, swap merge, swap, you know, sometimes the swap screws somebody or whatever. It's all luck. So you have to have a little bit of everything. And I think, with the exception of the challenges, although I didn't totally suck at them, which I'm really happy, because I actually did pretty damn good for me. I didn't win any, which is why I had to focus on social and strategy, and that's what got me here.
Thank you, Sandra. Who's next?
Jury, I am incredibly grateful for the last week and a half, or the 8 days. I came into this game with the full respect of how significant Surviving Reelfoot is. I have been preparing for the last 7 months. I've crewed multiple games in Australia to learn from some of the best players in the Southern Hemisphere, so that I could come into this game knowing how far to push this certain situation. So I had examples in the back of my mind with different diverse people. We had one of the most diverse casts I've ever had the privilege to be a part of. And I want to just comment on that. I felt like I learnt something from each individual on this jury along the way. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I hope that all of the questions that I answered today give you clarity around how badly I want this, the fight I displayed at Battleback, and particularly the fight I displayed in the head-to-head immunity challenge I had with Trinica. I knew I had that advantage, but I wanted to prove that I wanted this so badly I would hold on to it for longer than you. And you are one of the strongest mentally and physical players that I observed in this game. And I hope everybody can respect the decision I made when I voted you all out. But, and in summary, it's been an absolute privilege, and I hope I have the honour of being the next sole survivor for surviving Reelfoot.
So, am I good to go? So, unlike Maddie and Sandra, I did not have 7 months to prepare for this game. I had 24 hours to prepare for this game because I was an alternate. In those 24 hours, I had to pack, and I didn't really have much time to actually realize this is real. So I was giddy. I was all over the place. I was a ball of chaos and energy that needed to figure out to like land and calm down. Coming into this game, I have less than half the life experience as Maddie, less than a third the life experience.
Okay.
Less than a third of the life experience
Wow.
as Sandra. I was diagnosed with autism at age 3. I'm 18. There's a lot of social rules and grounds for me to learn and to navigate through. And I feel like I still managed to navigate this game pretty well, and I had a good perception of the alliances, who was working with who, and as Tony said, I had a good read on where the dynamic stood in the old green tribe, the new and even the new swap tribe, and where I stood in the merge tribe. I feel like my game is out there on the table. I understand if you guys respect it. I understand if you guys don't. I worked hard. One misconception that every time people were trying to convince me to stay with them or flip to the other side, the biggest argument that was used every single time was, oh, the other side is using you. But I feel like I'm making decisions for myself, and if people, hello, fly.
I know.
People, I don't think I was so much as using you, not using you, but I don't think I was being used by you, but more so working with people I needed to until I needed to vote them out in order to reach this spot tonight. Thank you all for listening. I wish you, I know you guys will vote with your, with the best decision in mind, and hopefully it's mine. If not, I completely understand.
Thank you, Charlie. Finalists, thank you for your closing statements. Before the jury goes to vote, this is Surviving Growth with the Decennium. We have one more thing we have to get to. Jury, before you guys arrived here, we held a challenge with the final 3 where they would compete for an advantage in this game. Charlie, you are the owner of that advantage. I would like you to quickly tell the jury what the advantage is, and then reveal who you are playing it on.
So don't worry, none of you are getting kicked off the jury. I have the option of giving one of you an additional vote. And I thought I had my mind made up, but and I never thought I was going to do this, but I mean, I think I'm gonna give that to Tony because maybe he sees my game, hopefully. And if not, I respect it. I respect your decision either way.
So, to clarify, Tony, when you go up to the vote, your one vote now counts as 2. So there will be, although only 9 of you will be voting, there will be 10 votes counted. All right? All right. With that being said, we had a great final tribal council. Maddie P, Sandra, Charlie, your game is done now. Your fate is now in the hands of the people you either had a hand in directly or indirectly voting out. Jury, hope you took the time to listen and observe what the finalists said. You are voting for a winner of this game. You are voting for the person you most want to represent your season of Surviving Reelfoot the Decennium. All right. With that, we're going to get to the vote. Shauna, you're up first.
Good luck.